took Kevin Pedral 4 years, 6 design changes and 40 prototypes to come up with not only the best and most affordable alternative to integrated bracelet watches such as the Tissot PRX or Christopher Ward's 12, but the most original watch of the year. It will launch on Kickstarter tomorrow, and I will use this opportunity to analyze it in depth from design to wearability, from fit and finish to price. This is the Pedral Artefact. I know this must be hard to believe, but the Artefact is Pedral's most conventional design. The trademark squircle is not as pronounced here as it is on the rimmed, but before talking about its unusual dial, I believe the most important aspect to take into consideration from the design point of view is that this is an integrated bracelet watch. Creating such a timepiece requires a deep understanding of volumes, and most watches developed on this concept are more or less copies of Gerald Genta's famous Nautilus and Royal Oak, with a slab-like angular platform whose aggressive downturning will not stop the watches were larger than they should. And I might commit sacrilege here, but Pedral's take on the integrated bracelet is actually better than Mr. Genta's. I don't know how he did it, but the taper of the lugs is perfect. More aggressive, and the watch would have ended up looking cartoonishly bulbous, more discreet, and it would have been just another PRX Tsuyosa thing. No, this is just perfect as it flows into the bracelet and allows for a classic profile. Of course, a big part in streamlining the watch is played by its dial. Kevin Pedral usually goes for carving the dial out of a monoblock, but on the Artefact, the rounded rhombus sits on and undercuts a conventionally round dial platform. I believe this is a touch of genius that allows for a square peg to be gracefully squeezed inside a round hole. Well-defined polished chamfers do a great job of emphasizing this design choice, creating additional depth against the fine-brushed base and bezel. I like how the symmetrically placed numeral seems to oppose resistance to the squishing of the dial, that's cleverly accentuated by the chain track mini track that gets even busier by the placement of numerals every 5 minutes. Now, I was assigned the Aventurine dial that will only be available during the first 48 hours of the campaign, and spoiler, is the most affordable one. But each of the other 7 variants available, plus 5 of the 6 that are listed as stretch goals, feature a central guilloche motif that brings extra dynamism to the dial. This particular Aventurine veers more towards black than blue, and the flake distribution is consistent and generous. The 316L stainless steel the watch is made of benefits from a transparent coating, taking its resistance to scratches to 800 Vickers, which should be enough to deal with threats posed by daily wear. The Artefact's BGW9 Superluminova compound is surprisingly generously applied for a Gada watch, and there are a few layers of anti-reflective coating applied on the inside of the flat sapphire crystal. As previously mentioned, should all stretch goals be unlocked, there's a total of 14 different dial configurations available, of which 12 are made of guilloched metal, 1 of malachite, and this Aventurine. The watch is powered by the no-date Miyota 9039 caliber running at 4 Hz. It hacks, it hand winds, and its thinness is one of the reasons why the watch is only a fraction over 11 mm tall. A substantial slice of the 4 years it took Pedral to refine this watch was allotted to finding a manufacturer capable of offering a build construction worthy of the design, and the payoff is remarkable. There's a great attention to detail, and the alternation between polished and brushed surfaces is crisp and consistent, making the watch feel sturdy yet elegant. Because it's impossible to fit aftermarket straps, this type of integrated designs is often made or broken by their bracelets. This is not only a great looking bracelet, but a well crafted one, as there are polished bevels on each of the three parts of the link. Although it's not fully articulated, it will fold in on itself and will lay flat against the case back. As noted, the transition from the head of the watch is flawless and continued by the generous taper of the bracelet. On my 19cm wrist, the watch wears, well, perfectly. Because of the luxe construction and the way the mail and link acts as a pivot, the artifact should be accessible to those whose wrists measure between 6 and 8.5 inches in diameter. Because the bracelet ends in a butterfly clasp and is missing half links, getting the right fit might be an issue, to which fortunately there are two workarounds. One of them will be provided by Pedral themselves, and I will talk about it later. The other is to take advantage of the standard 18mm measurement at the end of the bracelet and retrofit an aftermarket clasp. Against the Aventurine backdrop, the applied indices make reading the time easy at a glance, and legibility is further enhanced by the AR coating and the BGW9 Superluminova. As far as versatility is concerned, this is truly a gala watch, one to wear at the beach and at a wedding party. There are many safe, traditional colorways to choose from, but if you veer on the more eccentric side, choices like the Kingfisher or the Joker's Tuxedo are bound to make your wrist a gaze magnet. This might be Pedral's first release, but its owner, Kevin, has accumulated a large fan base through consistent use of social media. At the time of recording this review, 48 hours before its start, the Kickstarter campaign had 631 followers. If I was to reproach something to Pedral, is a tendency to overwhelm its followers with fantastic designs that cannot be purchased yet, creating a feeling of disappointment. More restraint in unveiling upcoming models would be lucrative for the brand, but hey, this exuberance is part of what big brands out there are sorely lacking: enthusiasm. After almost as many design tweaks as for the watch itself, Artifact's packaging will be a practical leather pouch which I am not able to showcase. What I can show you is the 6-watch leather case of the All-Star Ensemble reward that will be available for 5 backers of Pedral's Kickstarter campaign. And this is the cue for the availability and price section of the review. As previously mentioned, the artifact will be available to pre-order on Kickstarter between April 13th and the 30th. The Aventurine variant will only be available for a limited 48 hours window at €299. The price of the other dial variants will start at $365, 47% off future retail price. Pending reaching various thresholds, additional dials and bonuses will be unlocked, from extended warranty to free shipping. Two particular stretch goals are important to me: the upgrade to an on-the-fly micro-adjustable clasp and the Black Ivy dial. Upon successful funding, the watches are expected to ship starting September. So, is the artifact a watch to ignore, consider, shortlist, or buy? Well, this is a frivolous question, honestly. I will buy an artifact as soon as the campaign will start. The real question is which of the variants I should go for. Which one is your favorite? Comment down below, and I promise I will try to get the most popular choice as a reward for a giveaway in September. Till then, join me next week for more Pedral reviews: the Okapi Fusion and GMT on the 16th, and the rimmed Dream Chaser and Monument on the 19th. Like, comment, subscribe. Help me help you find the watch you want.